Let me tell you about recovery. Now, recovery and knowing how to do it is one of the most important things if you want to go throughout life, because no matter how healthy you are, there's always a chance you eat something wrong, or you just or you get unlucky and you get some virus, alright? Like someone gives it to you. Now, what you want to do is know the right way to recover this. For me, I think there's two different ways, and I will explain those in a bit. But first, think if, for example, you are working, you're in the gym, and then all of a sudden, say it doesn't even have to be an illness, and maybe you get an injury on your shoulder. Now, what would you do? You've got an injury on your shoulder, you can't lift weights. What are you gonna do? Well, the answer is different for very many people. Some people will stop going to the gym, wait for it to recover. Some people will just exercise lighter, and some people will just work out. Doesn't need to use the left shoulder. I mean, there's different ways, but I'll tell you about the way I use the formula so that you know what to do. As you can check in the channel, I've not uploaded in the past 2 days because I've been sick, and this is what I'm saying about recovery. There's the first way, which is just drop everything. Not everything, like don't start eating unhealthy, but maximize your recovery. If you're sick or infected with something like food poisoning and you can't be doing work, you can't go to the gym, you can't do anything, mate, you're dehydrated, then the number one priority is, if you've got something like an injury or illness that's just not going to be able to let you work at any level of efficiency, not even like 50%, but at any level, then you've got to quickly get on your feet, right, and just focus on the recovery 100%. You know, drinking the water, drinking the electrolytes, being fucking bored, like just fucking sitting there, throwing up, whatever, going to the toilet every 10 minutes, right? But it's better this than trying to do some work and putting out some work which is really subpar, like 10, 30, 20% ability of work, and it's going to go on for longer, right? It's going to go on for longer, because if you don't focus on recovery and you're actually still working, then your illness or injury might go on longer. If you're at the gym and you're still working out, the injury might not go away as fast, or might not recover as fast, which is one of the premises of this formula I've made. It depends on the severity, right? If you've just got a cold or like a light case of the flu, right, you can power through. If you're healthy, you're eating well, you're exercising, there's so much diseases or infections or whatever that you can just power through. You're eating well, eating healthy, being active and stuff. But that's not always the case. There's gonna be some injury, some road bump in your journey, and you're not gonna be able to just go through it, you know. So what can you do is, imagine you're in a car. Well, imagine this is like a speed bump, alright? Now, it's a big speed bump, alright? And if you're racing, right, you're racing down the street, you can either keep on racing, but go over the speed bump, it will damage your car, alright? And then you'll get slower in the race in the long term. Or you slow down for the speed bump, right, no brainer. Go over it slowly, focus on the speed bump, just getting over it, and then once you're over, you're unscratched as soon as possible, and you go forward with the race. It's that simple. That's the concept it is. Now, it's better to have a few days, a few weeks, depending on how serious it is, of just focusing on recovery as much as possible, than having 2-3 weeks compared to 1 week where your work output is just not it, and you're not recovering, and you're not at your optimal performance, because you want to be at max power. If you can get to max power, the faster the better. But at a certain level, the illness or injury or whatever road bump it is on your journey, it's just not big enough. It's something you can push through. You've got experience of this. Say it's just a cold, right? You know what a cold is. You have your tea, your medicine, whatever you want to have, and you just power through it. You work through it. You go out, have some sunlight, do some exercise, and then you're recovered in 3 days, and then you're still working at your high capacity, like 90-80%. Now it'd be different, however, if you had like a really bad case of the flu, which I must say is unlikely if you're healthy, going out like to the gym, getting your sunlight, eating super healthy. The flu doesn't really do that to you if you're that healthy, but we'll just say for the sake of an example, and you're literally bedridden, you can't do anything, you're working at 10, 20, 30%, right? That is appalling work. And if you can get over it in 5 days, a week, to just fully focus on recovery, you'd be over the flu. Rather than wait 2, 3, 4 weeks of having to work but not focusing on recovery, just kind of powering through, but you're not going to be at maximum capacity. Slowly it will go up and it will get better, but in the end of the day, it is far better to have 5, 7, like a week of just full recovery than it is to like crawl. It's like this. Like if you get tripped, right, in some situations you can just keep going, it's a race, you can keep running, but sometimes you trip, you fall. So the choice there is either crawl until you can get back up on your feet, or just focus on getting back up on your feet and then running straight away. So the earlier you can get back on your feet, the better if you fall. But if it's just a stumble, if it's just a cold, if it's just a small injury, small problem in the business, small problem in the gym, whatever it is, you can just power through. And that is the mentality you need, because if you go around crying about everything like a crybaby, then you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're not going to accomplish anything if you want to complain and cry about everything. If you want to treat it a cold and then use it as an excuse, even though you could easily go like just work straight through it, right? If you could just work straight through like a cold, then why would you stop for a cold? If you know that cold is not ever going to be, like if you keep working, it's not ever going to bother you because your body is so strong, will sort itself out and you don't even care. Like, a lot of people don't understand this, but when you're on a good diet, you're exercising, you're getting the sun, you're being active, and you've got like a healthy gut, stuff like cold, it doesn't really affect you. Yeah, maybe you'll get like a cold or something, but all it will give you is like a bit of a runny nose, and you can still breathe because you're always breathing through your nose. Your body stops it from getting like too clogged up, and that's all you get for a majority of people. And I'm sure there's people healthy that will have it and then it won't even affect them at all. So that's the second part of this sort of thing, is instead of wasting all your time on recovery, why don't you just build a fucking tank, build a wall where you don't have to worry about certain things coming in and harming you. Because if you were like, let's say you're like some dog, alright, you're staying at home eating Doritos, your diet's trash, you never get sunlight, you don't go to the gym, you don't exercise, you're fat, you're eating Doritos every day and you're sitting on the games every day, then what's going to happen when you get a cold is it's going to get worse and worse because you're just playing the games. And then that could be as bad as something like a really bad case of the flu for some people. No. That is what I mean by building your fortresses. If you're just not doing anything and you're just going out about life unprotected, right, then you're going to get hurt. You need to build these fortresses. If something happens, you know how to protect yourself against it, then build a fortress. Like if one time you get sick with something, you research, alright, what's a preventative for me so that I don't get sick of this again, or so I can cure this and be better. Then you've got that, and then you know next time what not to do, or if you do get sick, you can just get over it way faster. because you've got the necessary tools and requirements. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about is sometimes you're going to need to sacrifice some work for other. For example, if, for example, you've been sick or you've got something like a roadblock, even like exams or something, right, then you might have to stop going gym. And then when you want to go gym, you get sick, right? It can happen to anyone, it's just unlucky. What you want to do is you might have to sacrifice some other parts of your routine in order to go gym, because that's what you've missed out the most on. If you've missed out on gym, then going gym is your priority. It's like a clock. If you measure everything on a clock and what you haven't done, and obviously not every clock's the same, you know, some stuff, if you do it once a week, it depends, the clock goes up every time you miss it when you normally would have done something like you would have gone to the gym. So the clock only goes up when you do something that you should have done but you didn't. Because if it's been a week where you haven't done a certain task, and then it's been 6 days since you haven't worked out, maybe working out is the priority at that point, because the other task is something you only do once a week anyways, so you can just do it tomorrow, or you can do it if you get back and you have time. Stuff like this. If you have a memory, like a clock, when was the last time I did this, what's more important to me right now? And I always say this, it's all about sacrifice. You've got to put in the sacrifice the stuff you don't want to sacrifice. It's part of life. But anyways, if you enjoyed the video, if you like and subscribe, you'll see more pages like this on your page. And this video here, YouTube thinks that you'll like it, and it's a free community, and join it in the description. Cheers.